It is Independence Day. Hearts all across the nation are swelling with patriotism, and people are celebrating this day with full vigor. But deep down, you know something is not right. Deep down, you ask yourself, did we really get independence from the British? Subconsciously, most of our population is still experiencing the colonial hangover. And it's quite obvious as the current system feeds our brains with bullshit right from the beginning. The schools. Students from elementary classes are taught about the sacrifices of Gandhi and Nehru. We all were made to believe that Chacha Nehru loved children. History becomes more biased as we take a look at the textbooks of high school. Sporadic mentions of Bose, Hindu Mahasabha, Bhagat Singh, Rajguru, and many other revolutionaries, and every page singing the glories of Congress makes it quite apparent that the textbooks were heavily manipulated to favor the propaganda of a certain political party. Needless to say, the wickedness and blunders committed by the Congress were erased quite easily. Well, you might be thinking that medieval and ancient history remains untouched from any propaganda, but I'm sorry to inform you, you've been living in a deep illusion. The Christian missionaries that gained strength during the British rule disregarded our ancient heritage as a myth because it wasn't in accordance with any of their holy books. They wrote biased and false commentaries on our Vedas and Puranas. They glorified the names of utter idiots as scientists who invented gravity, as if we don't know. They never mentioned the names of our sages who talked about gravitational forces thousands of years ago. So, when a nation gains independence, its newly elected government must correct these fallacies, right? The answer, in the case of our nation, is a big no. Instead, the government took their commentaries as a reference. On top of all this, the Islamic invaders were glorified in our textbooks in the name of secularism. The Hindu kings were removed from the equation because that would bring out the facts. Nowhere we find extensive chapters on the Cholas, the Guptas, the Chalukyas, the Vijayanagara Empire, the Marathas, the Rajputs. In the current scenario, when one dismisses the pointless theories, when one points out the absurdity and biased nature of our textbooks, they are disregarded as Hindu nationalists. See, education is the foundation of an individual, right? It molds one's perception, one's inclinations, one's aspirations for the nation, and unfortunately, we have been fooled since independence. The education system has been designed in a manner such that no doubt in your mind remains regarding the greatness of Congress, and that you too respect the so-called secularism that feeds on the dead bodies of poor Hindus, Buddhists, and other such religions. Now you might say, it's all fine, but Congress has still accelerated India's development. Again, I feel extremely sorry to break your illusion. Take China as an example. It got independence in the year 1949, but is now way ahead of our nation. The unconventional decisions the Chinese government took made China one of the strongest nations in the world. While the Congress has always shown fear and poor decision-making abilities. All they cared was about their vote banks, and in order to maintain it, they have crossed all limits for appeasing certain religions. The scams done under Congress are countless. They failed in maintaining our nation's security, bringing economic reforms, uplifting the poor. Look at the farmers' deaths. They failed in every aspect, I would say. The blunders committed by Congress has pushed our nation into extreme darkness. We feel inferior about our heritage. We celebrate the West. We don't even know our true history. Our minds are still colonized, and ironically, we celebrate the Independence Day. Look at the growing agitation in the minds of left liberals in recent years. Isn't it an indication that the revolution has begun? It might hurt many intellectuals, but the truth is, Modi ji is bringing us close to the culture, making us feel proud of it. For the first time, we have a leader who is close to the spiritual roots of India. We all know he left his home in his teenage to serve the motherland. But you all know what Congress did. We have shown you how Rajiv Gandhi spent a holiday trip with his family in Lakshadweep, wasting public money, shamelessly drink and booze. But Modi ji, even after becoming the Prime Minister, he hasn't given any benefit to his family. This shows that he has accepted this position as a responsibility, not as a means to fulfill personal desires and material desires. Our nation requires a spiritually advanced, selfless, and a brave leader who can make India regain its lost might. Honorable Modi ji is such a felicitous leader. Obviously, it takes some time to undo all the wrong that has happened with our nation because of Congress in the past 70 years. Changes are never smooth sailing. There'll be a lot of resistance from the enemies of our nation. But we have to move ahead. We need to take measures at our levels. 2022 is just 4 months away. We have to give our full assistance to this government. I'm not against the celebration. I love the flag hoist, the emotion towards the motherland Bharat. But please be aware that the attack on our culture and spiritual ethos is not over. Dependency is still there. Let's have faith in Lord Shiva. Let's be a part of this revolution that will bring peace and prosperity to our nation, and perhaps in near future, we too may attain true independence.
मैं भी एक सामान्य परिवार से हूँ। मेरे जीवन में मेरे माँ बाप का बहुत बड़ा रोल रहा है। मैं बहुत गरीब परिवार से हूँ। आप जानते हैं, मैं रेलवे स्टेशन पे चाय बेचता था। मेरी जिंदगी के संघर्ष का वो एक स्वर्णिम पृष्ठ है। जिंदगी अपने लिए नहीं, औरों के लिए भी हो सकती है।